What up, party people? Happy Thursday. As always, it is a damn good day to have a good day. And today we got something real special for you. We actually have a returning guest to the podcast for the first time named Lisa Kytosaho. She was, I believe, episode 12 or so, and her life is incredible. Lisa is the head of the Western Cape Cheetah Conservation, and her job is to raise and rehabilitate cheetahs to return them into the wild. If you follow her on Instagram at Lisa Tora Jacqueline, you'll see all the stuff that goes into the everyday to day to actually rehabilitate a cheetah. I will warn you, in this episode, we really got into it. We went into things like, what goes on behind the scenes, like the stuff people don't really see. Not the cute cuddling of the cheetah, but, the raunchy behind the scenes stuff that is truly fascinating that goes into actually raising these animals. Lisa really inspires me because she's someone that's just going out there and following her dreams. A lot of people are pursuing X hobbies or pursuing X business. Lisa, she's just out here living life, being in the present. I just think that's so fascinating. I think it's something that all of us need to be better at. And this is going to be a great way for you guys to get a glimpse into a completely different lifestyle that, if you were interested in, is completely in your power to accomplish. And if you're new to the podcast, our mission here is twofold: to educate aspiring entrepreneurs by dissecting the come-up stories of incredible humans, by extracting the golden nuggets that you can apply now to better your life. And second, to have all my friends that are making moves to meet my other friends that are making moves, to create one giant community of extraordinary people. And so in this episode, you will learn what's the nitty and gritty that goes into rehabilitating cheetahs and wildlife, how to successfully pursue a career in helping wildlife, the issues facing modern day conservation efforts, and so much more relating to Lisa's personal journey and her experiences that can teach you what to do and what not to do. As always, our team here at Len Jones Party of Two loves your feedback. We love seeing your Instagram comments. We love seeing you post about your podcast in the Instagram stories. And this episode really was in demand by the audience because Lisa is just fantastic. So if you liked the last episode, you are going to love this one. With that said, as always, all our episodes are featured on YouTube, so feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. And without further ado, welcome to episode 46 with Lisa Kytosaho.
You are listening to Len Jones Party of Two, where experts and influencers speak honestly and openly about their keys to success. Sponsored by TrueFace.ai, where your face is the key. For more information on TrueFace, please contact your host at ian@trueface.ai. Now, pay close attention, cause you gonna learn today.
Boom! And we're live with the lovely Lisa Kytosaho. Lisa, how's it going?
Very good. Everything is perfect. How are you?
Living the dream. It's been a minute since we last spoke, but man, your Instagram story and your just lifestyle breathes fresh air into me every single day I see it. You're always doing something.
Yeah, I like to keep busy and I like to be in nature with animals. So there's a lot of adventures going on all the time, which I love, of course.
It's so fascinating because you took such a different path than most people. A lot of people, you'll typically see someone, jump into, especially out of school, they'll jump into some sort of 9-to-5 that doesn't exactly fulfill them, but they're doing it because they got to make some money and they're doing what they think best. And then part of them, I feel like there's a part of everybody that, like a wild animal part inside all of us that just wants to be in the jungle, Tarzan style, with the animals in nature. But, very few people ever absolutely send it and do it. And you're this living, breathing, beautiful example of someone that is out there living this dream, but also helping conservation efforts. And so everything you do is just fascinating. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm just so grateful that I can actually, that I've got this opportunity to be able to do this job, which I love, and as well do something that is important and good, and to be able to be like a bit of a voice for animals and try the best I can. It is a privilege for me, so I really enjoy it.
So, and for people that don't follow Lisa already, it's cheetahs are your main focal point. It seems you're the head of the Western Cheetah Conservation. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Western Cape Cheetah Conservation.
Western Cape. And so you're leading this conservation effort. You guys are currently raising how many cheetahs? I think last time we talked, it was like 11.
We've got 15 now. Well, didn't have any newcomers. I believe we had, we actually have one that passed away because of old age. So that was sad. We had a funeral, but that was expected. So it reached like a very old age. So we got 15 at the moment.
Do you have a name for everyone?
Yeah, all of them have names.
Can you tell the difference like immediately?
Yeah. There is four siblings that are still quite young. They're 3 years old. So with them, they haven't like really matured into their own. I mean, I can differentiate all of them, but sometimes I need a minute to just check it out and see, is that really that female or not? Because they are quite similar in sizes, but they will develop in their own ways. Like there's one male that's very easy to spot, and then there's a female that's easy to spot, and then the one male and one female are very similar. So you have to like have a little look, extra look. Yeah.
Where do they commonly come from? Is there like a certain situation where maybe someone's keeping a cheetah as a pet, or do you get them from zoos? Like, where do you guys rescue the cheetahs from?
Yeah, so we rescued cheetahs from bad places like captive environments. So definitely sometimes people keeping them as pets, and then they realize very soon that obviously it was not a good idea. So then we could take those individuals in and give them a more natural life and try to also rehabilitate them. It can be difficult if they're very used to humans, but we've also had cheetahs coming from, like I mentioned, like bad captive environments. So it could be a breeding facility where they're actually breeding animals, sometimes for the exotic pet trade, and there's not a lot of regulations and such. So they can be in really poor condition. And we found animals that were basically bleeding from the nose and having ringworm and just being, some of them needed surgeries and broken tails. So if they would have been left in that environment, they wouldn't have survived. And the place it's all about making money. So they wouldn't actually give them the medical attention that they would need. So sometimes we've been lucky enough to find out about the situation and go in and take action and help the animals.
Yeah, that's incredible. And there's so much I want to ask on that. Like since our last conversation, I've always been thinking and been waiting to get back on the pod with you to ask these questions. But before we jump into those, I think it'd be good for the listeners to know a little bit kind of the story of how you became, the head of this conservation and how this Sweden girl is living in South Africa doing this thing. And you said it all started with taking a trip back, I think when you were in like high school or college.
Yeah, well, when I was doing my education, I studied to be like you can say it is the first years of the veterinarian science. So I'm not a veterinarian, but you could call it like a veterinarian or veterinarian technician, basically an animal care course or like education. During that time, I wasn't actually sure of exactly what I wanted to work with. I just let time tell. So we tried a lot of different work and got a lot of practical experience. And I knew that I definitely didn't want to be a veterinarian because I'm more into creating a relationship with animals and like being with animals rather than just like treating sick animals. So I knew that, but I wasn't exactly sure what. Then we had our internship, which was longer, and we were allowed to go abroad. So the opportunity to go abroad, and one of the options was Namibia. So when I heard about that, going to Africa, working with, at a sanctuary, I wanted to do that. So we went, and I just fell in love with that. So when I was there, I said, because actually, to be very honest, I never felt very home in Sweden. I mean, it is my home where my family is, but just living here was never my home. And then I remember that when I was in Namibia, I said, this is my home. This is where I feel home now. And it was just the environment, the nature, the animals around, and I loved the work. And I was dreaming and say, if I can work with this and get like even a little bit of a salary, I don't even care. I want to do that. That is what I wanted to do. And I didn't really realize it until I just did it, because it was so amazing, the experience. I wouldn't even have imagined that I could do it.
Right. So even when you're thinking of like the dream scenario of being with these animals, you're saying that when you first got there, it blew away all expectations you even had previously set in your mind.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because I loved it way more. I mean, I knew it was gonna be such a great time, but I was so in tune with the environment and the animals. And when you have these, orphan animals or injured animals, and they connect with you, and you feel like, oh, they kind of chose me, and feel comfortable with you, you feel like you want to give them everything. You are becoming like their mother and their surrogate mother, and you try your best for them, and to be their support. So it gave me a lot, and a lot of confidence as well, seeing all these animals, and getting to work with them. So that's really where I knew I was in the right place.
Was there like a particular moment during that 2 weeks or so that you were there that like that one moment you mentioned an orphaned animal that you just went eye to eye with this thing and it just took your heart away and you're like, yep, this is where I stay?
So yeah, I must say, I've got a soft heart for baboons, because there was a lot of orphan baboons at the sanctuary, for the reason that, yeah, sometimes they get shot. Yeah, most of the times the mothers would either get trapped in a trap or shot, and then there would be like a young baboon baby that would be left, and someone picks it up, and then they would bring it to the sanctuary. So there was quite a lot of baby baboons, and we got to care about them. Obviously, they didn't have any mothers, so they would be together during the day, but in the night they would get very scared if they were alone. So then we would be caring for them specially, and they would come with one carer each. And what I found very interesting is, during the times first when we were bonding with them, that they really choose who they like, and they kind of choose you. You don't really say, oh, that's my favorite. You realize who they prefer. And one of the younger ones, and the smallest one, she really showed me that she chose me. And what really made me love baboons so much, and just fall even more in love with this work, is one of the evenings when we were supposed to take our baboon babies and care about them for the evening. And we were assigned to specific individuals. And I already knew that she was going to have a problem, that I didn't have her that day. So I was like, I think maybe I should take Serafina, because, she kind of likes being with me. And then they're like, no, no, it's fine. They should be with different people. And then she made a huge drama when she came out of the camp, and she just screamed and wanted to get to me. So the lady who was supposed to take her had to let her go, and she came and she jumped up on me too. So I actually ended up with two baby baboons. So I cared about the one I was supposed to, and the one, the little girl Serafina, who just had to be with me. And she just, for whatever reason, she felt really comfortable with me, and she wanted to, she felt safe. So it made me really fall in love even more with the species and with wildlife, and just the way that they're so intelligent. If you're walking with them out in the nature, and they will just come and put their little hand in yours, and walk with you, and you can just like pull them up, and you can, when you get to know them, you can start play with them. But before you know them, they won't accept that. But you can even throw them up in the air, and obviously not very high, but a little bit, and they really enjoy it, and they start kind of laughing. It's so beautiful.
So your mother instincts just come out right away.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I want to protect them, and I want to be a support for them. So they, well, I mean, especially when they kind of choose you, you feel like you want to give back that trust.
For sure. I mean, that's so cool. And you speak about something that's really exciting. It's about the idea of being present. And I think a lot of people in our society, and it's not even our fault, it is what it is. We live in this world where we're looking at our phone on average about 8 hours a day for like the average person. It's insane. Or 6 hours, I think, is the average amount of screen time someone's putting into their phone.
That's a lot.
Crazy. A lot of time between getting texts, messages, all those stuffs. But you mentioned that when you're with these animals, you feel this heightened sense of presentness. And I know, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a word, but I think so. But like, I know a lot of people, we all love our dogs and our cats, especially, people love their dogs because when they're with their dogs, they're not thinking about anything else but the dog. They're like seeing just that raw emotion, that happiness, just wanting to be around you. Do you feel like that's like a big reason why people fall in love with this type of career, is that calming presence type moment?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think definitely it is. it's something you pick up and you feel like it feels natural. You're not interested in your phone. You're learning. I mean, we talked about that a lot on the first podcast, how they taught, like the cheetahs taught me so much when it comes to patience and presence and things. And definitely, I mean, when you're with them and you're in nature, you don't think about anything else. You're just really enjoying your time. And I mean, during that when the time that I was there, I can't even remember carrying my phone around. The phone was like empty of battery, dead in the room. And I would bring my little digital camera sometimes to take pictures of the animals, or actually my big camera as well, because it was so beautiful to take pictures there. So yeah, I definitely think that people enjoy this kind of work because it's so rewarding, and it makes you kind of enjoy life more, because it shows you that you must be present and you must see what's happening around you and enjoy it. Yeah.
Do you meditate?
I don't actually, but I started trying some once in a while. I do yoga, which is good when it's kind of like breathe work and stuff like that. I enjoy it, but I don't do it regularly. But I think that when I'm out in the felt with the cheetahs, that's my meditation because I can sometimes sit and just look into the vastness and just not think about anything. And sometimes I'll reflect over things and go through things in my head. So that's, I would believe, is like my meditation.
When you say out in do you say the field or the felt?
Well, yeah, in South Africa would call it the veld. So that's basically the field or in the nature. Yeah, there's just a word for it.
I love that term. Yeah, I feel that way when I scuba dive. I think that I still am struggling with meditation. If you guys listen to the podcast continuously, you know that I'm always working on it. But I feel like when I scuba dive, it's the one time in my life I for sure know I'm meditated because I'm not thinking about my phone. I'm not thinking about anything else besides the fact that I am breathing 60 feet underwater. I need to continuously breathe. And I'm just amazed at the beauty of nature. I think coral reefs are the most fascinating, beautiful things in the world. That's why one day I'm going to have like a 500-600 gallon saltwater aquarium, because that's a very, very cool hobby. But it's just really interesting. So circling it back, you went off on this trip when you were in university, you came back to Sweden. And then what made you kind of just make that move to just send it? Did you send out some emails? Like what actually got you that first opportunity to say, all right, I'm packing my bags and going?
Yeah, I was very lucky. So basically, I knew what I wanted to do, but I was very lucky. So one of the contacts from Namibia moved on because they had like a 6 months internship, um, and they were doing guiding, and basically went to South Africa and started working as a field guide there. And I was lucky enough to hear from him that he said, well, they've got actually it was a apprentice program. So I got this opportunity through that, and I said, and it was focused on cheetahs. So yeah, and I was like, yes, I want to do that, because I even got a little bit of money for it. So I was more than happy, and that got me through the door, because then I could show what I can do, and what my experience and my kind of limited experience at that time, but still I use a lot of my other experiences with other animals, like working with dogs in the military, even horses, like all of those key things that I learned, I could apply that into my work, as well as my education, which was really great to prove that I knew animal husbandry and diets, and also how to care for sick animals and all kinds of stuff. So that got me the opportunity to actually get a permanent position and to stay in South Africa.
You mentioned you worked with military dogs.
Yeah.
Did you train
That,
them?
sorry.
What was that work like?
So, well, that was very exciting. Basically, it was training Belgian Malinois and German Shepherds for the Swedish military and police force. So we would be training like adult dogs with, sniffing out narcotics and training them for that, and just keeping them up to date, as well as like physically training them, going with a quad bike and training like a litter of puppies, for example. Not puppies, but young animals. And as well as just training the young ones, training the puppies. So all the different ages, like whatever they need when they're puppies, obviously they need just handling and seeing different environments and experiencing some strange and scary situations. And then when they're getting older, it's more like physical training as well as obedience, and then protection as well. So yeah, that was amazing. I mean, I really, really love that. And I was also doing some kind of courses that is a part of the Swedish military, but I didn't go through like the whole thing, just for animal or a dog handling course.
Was that
So
their
yeah,
was that their
so
university, or just like you just applied?
that was, yeah, that was a private venture that I did. So I guess it started out with a practical internship that I had through school. So I got to choose that, and I went to like an island in Sweden, and then there was this kind of organization that were training the dogs for the police and for the military. That's where it all started. And after that, I started working extra there, and I started working there for a while. And then I did this course as well, that I was mentioning, where we were training our own dogs and other dogs as well, more kind of in depth. That we would be sleeping out in tents and doing like a lot of fun stuff.
20 years from now, when you're all settled down, or maybe call it 15, whenever, what would be your 2 dream dogs to have?
Ooh, that's a good question. I actually, for a long time, wanted to have a German Shepherd, but I think now I would say I would like to have a Anatolian Shepherd. They are the ones that are protecting like the the cattle and things, from basically from cheetahs. So they are in a way cheetah protectors, because they make sure that the cheetahs don't get into trouble and that the farmers don't shoot them. So I'm very interested about the breed, Anatolian Shepherd. And then I've got another breed which is very, very unique, and it's a Cão de Fila. It's from an island in Portugal where I used to live for a while, and they've got this also like protection herding dog, which looks almost like a hyena. It has a beautiful color, and it's very strong, and it's so unique. I really like them, and I would love to rescue one day. And because sometimes there is a few that are in bad situations, and I found that myself when I was living there, and I wish that I could have taken them home. So I would like to have maybe those 2 breeds.
Yeah, I'm all about the white German Shepherds. They're so majestic and beautiful. Oh man.
Yeah, they are.
And the breeds are so trainable and just cool. There's just that calming effect. Being around dogs, being around animals is next level. But you also were into horses. Was that since you were a little girl?
Yeah, since I was 6. I got the opportunity to ride when I was 6, and I was just, this is for me. Like, I love it. So since then, I was riding first once a week, and then twice a week. And then I was doing, I was like half leasing a horse. So I was basically riding like someone else's horse and helping them with caring for it, and going on horse camps, first in Sweden and then abroad. I went to Ireland for jumping, and I went to Azores, and I worked there as a horse tour guide. So I worked with horses for a while, and yeah, I mean, I love horses. They're awesome.
This is so cool to hear about the depth of experience you have with all types of animals. Because I know recently you got your own horse, right? Like 3 or 4 months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. I'm so excited for that. I mean, I've been waiting for, I mean, over 20 years for a horse, and my mother would know that I was nagging her so much. Please, can I have I even was trying to have a little mini Shetland pony like in the backyard. I mean, I was very young, but I didn't realize that maybe that was not a good idea. But I just been wishing for my own horse for such a long time, and now I've got it, and it is so beautiful. Like, you have that animal that you've got a special connection with, and I really believe in like natural training techniques and handling of them. So I don't ride my horse with a bit. Since the day she came to me, she doesn't have a bit in her mouth, and you can see, I love to see animals when they're so intelligent, and she enjoys that. Like, she knows that she puts it on, she almost wants to like scream, like she makes a face because she's expecting a bit in her mouth, and then she remembers, no, I don't have to have that anymore. And it's just like that relationship building on the natural things, and having a friendship and not dominance over them. That's really what I love. And then having your horse that you can build that friendship with is so beautiful.
That's amazing. My mother had a horse at one point. I believe it was a Pasofino breed.
Yeah.
I think she was mentioning that those breeds are very smooth when you're riding them. It's almost like very little bumps, it's like less bumpy, and it's more like a, nice smooth ride. What type of breed is your horse?
It is a cross, but it's a South African Boerpaard. So they are like really strong horses made for being out in the veld, and very sturdy, and they can do the winters, and they're strong. And then she's a bit of a mix, so she probably has a bit of Arab in her because she looks a little bit some characteristics of a Arab, actually. The face and her tail is often up. So that's the mix that I believe that she is. And yeah, so it's a strong horse, which is great. She goes barefoot, like she doesn't need any shoes. She doesn't need any blanket. I do still put a blanket if it gets very cold, but she looks like she doesn't need it. She's like, what are you doing? I don't want that stuff.
Are you able to just take your horse at any time and just rip around all of this like open to land in your reservation?
Well, I mean, they're not exactly like on the reserve, so they're a bit further away. But yes, I mean, there is a lot of space there. There's like little lakes that you can ride around, and vineyards and stuff. So we got endless of beautiful areas to ride, and there's little mountains you can ride up to, and we've got so much to explore, and it's like, yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, bringing it back to the cheetahs, the main event, you have all these different cheetahs that you're caring for. And can you tell the story of maybe one particular cheetah that might have caught in your heart more than anyone, that has kind of this very unique, just a story in your mind of maybe just something that you can tell of like the most impactful cheetah you've ever cared for?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. I don't want to repeat myself. I do know we talked about this a little bit before, but let me think. I mean, I really have special memories with each individual. I have to say. Well, I think I'm going to talk about Iziba. So she is like a special lady to me because of many reasons. But she, just to give a background information, she came in when she was about 3 months old. She had been kept as a pet, and so she came in. She flew in with a helicopter, as fancy as she is, little queen. And basically, I wasn't. It was my responsibility from the start. So I took her in. We had already prepped an area for her, and since she was without any siblings, without any mother, and she had lived with people, she actually was staying in my house. So I had cheetah proofed my house, and I had a little extra room for her, which was just 100% sterile and beautiful, and blankets, and so she couldn't hurt herself. And but the great thing is she was very, very calm when she arrived. I was so amazed that she was purring from the first moment I looked at her when she came out of the helicopter. And sorry, it was actually a little plane. And so she was purring, she was happy, and then we just got her settled, got her water, and from there on she was staying with me for quite a few months. She was basically living with me, and the reason, like I mentioned, was because to keep her comfortable, because of the environment that she came from. And then what we were working on was also to get her comfortable staying in a camp. So when she was a little bit older, at first I would just make sure that she was healthy and well, because she was actually very small for her size. She also had a bit of hair loss, so especially in the face. So I do believe that that comes from a bad diet. So she didn't really get everything that she needed. So probably they were just feeding her lean meat and chicken from the grocery store and stuff like that.
How old was she?
She was 3 months.
Got it.
approximately. I mean, we didn't really have a specific age, because obviously it's not actually not allowed, it's not illegal to have them as pets, so there was not any specific documentation or anything like that for her. But so when she was getting healthy, I mean, when she got the right food, she was growing beautifully and she was really enjoying herself. Then she was a little bit bigger. Then I started adjusting her to being, in the beginning, just like half an hour into a camp, and she saw other cheetahs, and I would stay with her, and then I would, you know, add the time, and then I could feel comfortable leaving her. So I would leave her for like an hour there, and then gradually she was actually staying in one of the camps, and she was meeting other cheetahs. So yeah, that's the whole story. But the beautiful part is, I mean, the relationship that we got to build when she was staying with me, and just waking up at, you know, like 4 or 5 in the morning, because she's like, you know, putting her paws in my face and like, oh, let's play. Because I was the only one, you know, I was her friend. I was her mother and her friend, because she didn't have any siblings. She didn't, so I was the one who would get jumped on and played with, and it was beautiful. It was amazing to see, you know, all the dimensions of these animals when they're young, and how brave she was. And she was like a mini cheetah from start, and she would still have attitude, and also how amazing, I mean, certain things where you can see they have their instincts. If they see an animal, like, they're acting exactly like you would imagine them to, even though they've grown up as a pet, which is incredible. And why she's very special, I don't want to call anyone favorites, because all of my children are like equally loved. But she's special, and that experience, like living together, as well as I kind of feel like she's pretty much the cheetah version of myself. She developed such a, you know, beautiful personality. I really love to spend time with her, and also we are so similar. We have all the same traits, and I just feel like she's a cheetah version of myself. And we really did grow up together, so it's quite beautiful. And she's stubborn, she's independent, she loves to be in the nature and in the wild. She's a kind of individual that would just be out for 3.5 hours and like, okay, should we move back? And she's like, not yet. And I feel like with her, she really wants to be wild, and sometimes she overestimates her own abilities. Like, she'll think she's this great hunter. I'm like, not yet, my darling. Like, you have to still learn. But she doesn't give up. Like, she wants to continue. If she tries to hunt antelope and she fails, she'll be very grumpy, and she'll like wanna keep on trying until she gets something that, you know, she feels proud about.
Yeah, it sounds like you were just describing yourself until you got to the point of hunting antelope, but everything else was like a definition of you.
Yeah. I mean, that is just showing that she's very stubborn, and that she's going out for what she wants. She won't stop for it. Yeah.
Is there like a point of no return when it comes to rehabilitating a cheetah? So like, you know, obviously whenever you post about cheetahs or animals online, you're going to get a lot of like aggressive comments that come out of left field, especially whenever you see someone cuddling a cheetah or like being lovey-dovey with the cheetah. Do you think that if a cheetah has been raised, say, in captivity for, say, 2 years, they can still be completely rehabilitated into the wild? Or is there kind of a certain amount of point of no return where they can only kind of be partially rehabilitated?
No, I definitely think that it is all about the individual. It's not about exactly like a time period or anything. Because you have to do it according to their abilities. If they need more time to learn hunting, then they need to. I mean, you can't rush that. And everything happens naturally, so it's nothing that you can force as well when it comes to the hunting opportunities and such things. So of course, the younger the better, because they can definitely adapt better, and they have less, you know, kind of quirks of how they like things. And after a while, of course, I mean, you wouldn't rehabilitate a cheetah that is like older in age. So when they're young, it's important to try to do it as soon as you can. And but I personally, like with my experience, I do think that having a relationship with them when it is in the focus of rehabilitation is benefiting them, because not because of, you know, that, oh, they like to be with us and all this stuff, although they do, I feel like, not all of the individuals, of course, and then they get a different treatment. But when they do, they can actually come out and do these huntings that I'm talking about. Because if you can't touch them, if you can't interact with them, a cheetah that's once been a pet will just have to stay in a big enclosure, and that's it. Because what we can do, which is really unique, is we take them out into the open nature where there is free roaming animals, and when there is opportunity, they can hunt that, and that gives them the experience of hunting and actually learning, how do I do that. In the beginning, they will just go on their instincts and just run, and then they realize, no, that was not good, I have to stalk. Oh, I have to actually stalk the prey first. So they're learning by kind of trial and error, and we are there to support it. So if they do something maybe, you know, not right, we can also help, we can support them. It happened that I had to kind of, you know, get involved and help, not maybe the cheetah but the animal, because the cheetah didn't know exactly where to kill the animal. So we are supporting them in a lot of different ways. And like I said, if you don't have that connection with them and the trust, you can't do that, because then they would just run away from you. There's just, why would they stay with you? But because we build that friendship with them, and we are working with them for a specific reason, they will trust us. And in fact, I can even let them eat on the prey for a while and then take it from them without them having any problem with that. They'll actually allow me to load it into the vehicle, bring them back, and then use that carcass for like the rest of the cheetahs for feeding. So, which is really cool, because we don't have to leave any leftovers in the field or any, you know, aggression when it comes to the food. And that's again trust and relation, like a strong relationship. Otherwise you couldn't do that. They would just want you to get really far away from their kill. So I can understand that people have different opinions, and that's fine. But I've seen in practice what it does and what benefits it does, and it's not like 100% sure that each individual
Right.
is going to be rehabilitated. But the fact that they've got the chance, and even if they don't, the stimulation for them to still live a wild, you know, kind of a wild life and a natural, more natural life than just being in an enclosure, that is for me like what I would have wanted in their situation.
Yeah, and this is something that you spoke about a little bit on the past episode. And if you guys haven't heard the first podcast with Lisa, definitely check it out. She went a lot into the conservation efforts and how you can get involved in the process and all of that stuff. But you did mention a little bit, we talked about how a lot of your pictures show you cuddling these cheetahs and this kind of like, oh my God, it's so cute, it's so beautiful. And it raises a lot of awareness. So it has its positives and negatives with every time, you post something about that. But it's interesting because you mentioned that you get your hands pretty dirty, like on a day-to-day basis, like you're doing some gnarly stuff, like really out there helping these cheetahs hunt. Can you kind of explain the gross stuff that people don't ever hear about with the whole rehabilitation process?
Well, yeah. I mean, the diet is so important when you're working with any animal, but I mean, especially cheetahs, because they're very sensitive, and they've got a very sensitive, sensitive intestines and digestive system. So they need everything in balance and right. And that for humans is difficult to recreate. So we are not trying any stupid thing. Sorry if I'm offending anyone who is doing that at their facilities, but I don't believe in, for example, like minced meat and supplements. For me, that's ridiculous. It's like we would eat a like McDonald's with a vitamin pill on it and say, oh, that's gonna be good. For us, you know. So we make sure that their diet is 100%, and I am very crazy about making sure of that. So that includes, you know, a lot of we call it meat work. So we would do meat work, and we would also give, for stimulation purposes and enrichment purposes, meat on the bone, but also cutting organs. So cutting lungs and livers and hearts, and just, yeah, because that's so important for the animals. I mean, they need to have all the vitamins and nutrients that are in these things, and they also need to eat full body animals as fresh as possible. So I'm not going to go into too much of that, but it just means you have to be really willing to do things for the animals best, and to make sure that they are just in perfect condition. And it is so rewarding when you see that they're healthy, and that they don't have any issues, and they are just, shiny coats and all that stuff, and you know that you're doing it right. So yeah, but obviously a lot of people, they would get very disgusted if you would arrive and see me with like bloody hands inside of a carcass. And yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's like so interesting, because it just goes to show, like, there's one side that people see, oh my God, cuddling animals, so beautiful. Then there's that other side that's like, oh, yo, like, are you really cut out for this? Uh, it's interesting. And you actually mentioned that you'll go on hunts with these animals and like almost show them where they have to bite. Didn't you mention that?
Yeah, I mean, some people might think this is a bit too much, but yeah, I mean, if they are like, they know instinctively kind of where to bite, but then they might be on the wrong side, like on the neck, and then I could just like show them quickly that, okay, you're a little bit wrong, so just move here, um, and then they will know, because they already have that instinct of kind of how to do it, but they just need that little extra help. And it's just, I would do it actually for the for the antelope, for the animal, because I would want to protect it from suffering.
Right.
And so yeah, so that's what I would do. And then when they got that spot, they know it's right, and then everything kicks in, and then they learned it, so then next time they won't have a problem. But I mean, some people might think that sounds horrible and rude and torturous for the animal, but we have to remember that in the wild they would do exactly that. And also, it's so important to just remember that this is a whole completely natural hunting possibility. It's not like a enclosed area where we place an animal and then they can hunt it. No, it's just an open space, open prey, and they got equal chances. So, like I said, when the cheetahs are young in the wild, they would not know exactly what to do in the beginning. The mother would injure something and then let the cubs learn how to do that. She would show them as well. So, yeah, just wanted to put that in there, because I mean, I do love all animals, and I don't want to, offend people. But the fact that majority of the cheetahs have learned how to hunt perfectly, it's amazing, so they can be rehabilitated, and we can really do something with these individuals, so that they can have a natural life again.
Yeah, no, that's intense. I think it needs to be said. Obviously, it's gonna make some people uneasy and make them be like, "Well, you just ruined my Thursday commute." But the fact is, that's nature. That's the reality. That's what you're getting yourself into when you get into this career, and that's what you got to do to create and kind of essentially fix that, food process. That it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
that's intense, Lisa. You're an intense human, and it takes a lot. I mean, just to be able to put yourself out there and constantly be doing this work that human beings have interrupted through pollution and all the different stuff we're doing. And that's a topic that I see you posting about all the time, just helping the planet, everything we can do to help. What do you think
Yeah.
in your group, because you're connected to some of the largest influencers inside of the conservation world? What do you think is our best chance? This is such a loaded question, by the way, but what do you think is our best chance to possibly raise awareness towards projects that actually help and create real change versus kind of like the Fugazi fake play change?
Mm, yeah, I think so important. Yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, to know if our organization is right or not, sometimes you almost have to see it yourself, and if not, do like a lot of research before. I mean, it's so important when you are if you're donating or you're supporting an organization, that really know what you're supporting, because it would be a shame if you're supporting something that's not good. So I think for everyone, it's so important that we are constantly being aware of what we are doing, and when it comes to making choices in general life, as well as supporting organizations. And yeah, I mean,
Just vetting the organization is probably huge, because there's a lot of organizations that you mentioned that essentially are more so just trying to get people to play with these animals, but they're not really helping the animals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if it's I mean, it can be really difficult when you're not into the field to know if it's legit or not, because I mean, people are good at spinning some lies and putting fancy words and like, oh, that sounds good, but I, for example, can look at things and say, oh, yeah, that's not serious. So
Yeah.
sometimes it could be important just to, I mean, I try to be very open with people asking questions. If they're asking me like what age I am on DM, then I probably won't answer, because I've said that before so many times. But if you ask me like a serious question, like, oh, what about this organization, I want to help, do you think it's a good one, or I want to volunteer, do you think that this one is fine, I've checked it out, I would definitely, if I see it, I would definitely answer, and I would say my opinion. I don't like accusing people or like saying things that I think as a fact. I would just say that this is what I think, this is what it looks like, this is what I may be a little bit cautious about, or maybe I've been to that place, and I'll tell you it's really good. Like, you can trust them, they're really good. And because there's always different sides to everything. Some places are super good, and then you have someone talking bad about it, saying it's bad because of these reasons and this, and it's, in the end of the day, there's not a black and white situation when it comes to wildlife. You cannot say that because you do that you're bad, or you have to do that to be good, because everyone has different opinions and no one knows what the animals feel. So in the end of the day, there's not a black, in my world, there's not a black and white. Of course, everything has to be ethical and right for the animals,
Right.
but you have to make your own assessment in the end of the day. So if you have an idea of an organization, it's good to maybe check with someone you think this person might know, or email them some questions, and check out like what can I look out for to make sure I don't fall into a trap. A lot of times, I was mentioning that the other day on my Instagram, it's just that volunteering has become such a business. So back in the days, volunteering was like, yeah, it was very different. Now there's so many people that wants to do it, and there's so many places that accepts volunteers, and they will just tell you that it's for conservation and it's this, we do this, but there's no real facts. And it can be kind of easy to find out if you ask questions, I would say.
Interesting. And that's what we're doing here right now. And for people listening, I do not claim to be an expert in any of this. I'm just walking in, just very curious into this world of really what is proper conservation. And, you're actually out there doing stuff. And for that, it's amazing. But is there anything?
No.
Can you still hear me right now?
Yeah, I can.
All right, perfect.
Just making sure that, oh my gosh, I need to take.
No worries. We'll be like almost sort of ish done. So we're
I'm just going to quickly organize.
Yeah, no worries. But something I am curious from your perspective is, and I remember even last time when I posted a video on YouTube, it was just kind of like that Instagram trailer promoting the podcast. I got a lot of, like, not a lot, but I don't know, 1 out of 5 comments was like a super aggressive comment of someone telling like, what, this is so wrong, like what you're doing is so wrong. And before you know it, I'm like going back and forth with these people on Instagram. I'm like, oh, this is just giving me a headache. Like I don't even want to be a part of that type of aggressive conversation. Is there anything about what you do and like with social media or any comments people make that particularly really upset you?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, you want to like not pay attention to those things, and most of the times I don't. But I have yeah, when someone is kind of accusing me of doing bad things for animals and being like a bad person to animals and doing all like that kind of things, anything in that subject, of course, it makes me really like it gets to me because I care so much about them, and I literally dedicate my whole life, and they're my priority all the time. So when you have such a big passion, you want to do so many things for the future, for right now, you know, and that's basically your whole priority. And then someone tells you like something negative, then of course it gets to me. But I also learning to not let that happen because I realize everyone has different opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, like I said, that black and white thing. Some people say this is, you know, this is right, this is wrong. You know, if you do that, you're wrong, you're bad, you're an evil person. I
Right.
don't believe in that. I mean, it's just it's quite hypocrite when you look at a lot of, you know, those kind of arguments, because I don't find there to be a lot of knowledge behind it. Unfortunately, you know, it's just an opinion that's being pressured on people, and that I think, and it's also like you mentioned, it's like really aggressive, and that's not cool because we can have discussions, that's fine, but I mean, like aggressing people is like not cool, and it doesn't really serve the purpose. So yeah, I think it's something to learn from, and a lot of people nowadays, they connect. I mean, it's good. The thing is that we have this awareness happening about cub petting and bad places doing interactions, and you know that is really bad. When there's a chain drugged tiger, is horrible. I mean, no one likes that. Or a
It's terrible.
elephant that is, you know, tortured to be ridden. You know, I'm 100% against all of that things. And so of course we are not torturing animals, we would never want to. But then people have gone and say, oh, this is so bad, I want to be so against that, I want to protect the animals, and then they kind of just automatically shift over to touching wildlife is bad, touching, you know, because yeah, if they read something about this place is taking people in to ride elephants and or whatever species it is, do, you know, touch them, meet them, then they automatically just think that is bad. I mean, a lot of people would actually comment and be like, "Oh, you're a horrible person like that because you're, you know, with wildlife, you're touching them. You shouldn't. They should be wild." And then I said, "But actually work with them. Like if you have a look at my page, then you will understand what I'm doing." And many times I had people say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just," like they basically just found my post and just commented without making some research about me. And they said, "Oh, I didn't realize you work with that. I thought you were just a tourist, like going and petting them." I said, "No, I mean, you know." So a lot of times it's that kind of thing as well, where people just see and they want to like
Mm-hmm.
attack straight away because they're feeling like they're doing something good for the animals then. But I mean, we have to, of course, say something when things are not good. Um, so that's very important. But I find that it can be very damaging if you are just randomly attacking people and you're actually maybe going after the wrong people and organizations. Then it's it can make, I think, a negative impact for that, for those animals. And
Yeah.
not in my case, because I'm not gonna, you know, I wouldn't drop anything for that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking like smaller organizations perhaps would like just start it and get something like that, would maybe like really lose hope and feel like, you know what, we can't do that, and then close opportunity for all those animals. I just had that kind of feeling at some stage.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And thank you for being so open with that and just kind of explaining that, like what's going on in your brain throughout, you know, you spreading awareness and doing this. Cause it's funny because I'll be on Instagram sometimes and they'll just be like all these wildlife pages and they'll like share a video of you. They won't tag you or know who you are, but it'll be you like, you know, straight head purring with one of the cheetahs. And it's like, ah, it's Lisa, what's up? But then you look at the comments and there's just like so much different opinions, right? But people aren't going beyond the fact to see what is really happening. And it's just
Yeah,
it's fascinating the fine line between raising awareness to help, but then also not going overboard and then keeping the message as good as possible, which, you know,
yeah.
as nowadays anyone can spin anything. So that's a tough challenge.
It is, yeah, and it is is a fine line, like you say. It's a balance, you because people love to see my relationship with the animals. In fact, that's what people really love. And I don't always give them what they want, because I try to keep it also kind of, mixed information. So squeeze in information maybe that they weren't expecting and stuff like that, because I find that important. And I know that by them seeing me with them, it gives them a different perspective of the animal. So that is also why I still need to show that love and appreciation, because until now, mainly people have been seeing cheetahs just on Natural Geographic, how they are in the
True.
wild, and but now they can really connect to an individual. They can connect to a relationship and all those things. And I do believe that it is so important for the way forward, because so far we haven't made. Some people don't like humanizing animals. I don't believe in putting like human emotions on animals. You shouldn't say this animal happy, or how can you know that? But sometimes by speaking about a cheetah or a wild animal with their name, with their character, I mean, technically you're humanizing them, but it gives people something to grab onto and to get to know and to understand and to love even more. So when you do that, people feel more connected to nature, more connected to these animals, and I believe that that can be the change that will make us save them, rather than like it has been in the past, where we've been just going downwards. So keep on going with the same thing, like, oh, wild is wild and we mustn't show that we are interacting with them, and that's bad. I mean, I don't know. I don't really see that making a huge impact. I see more that people seeing the beauty of them, the complexity, the friendliness that they can, the relationship, that will make people really want to step in and to help, and do some difference.
Right. You know, this is something that I love asking anybody that's out there making moves towards their goal, whether that be in business, conservation, or maybe you're just into something that's particularly strange. It's the weirdos I like the most, people that are doing things different than everyone else and pursuing their passions. And it's kind of this looking back thing, right? Like if you could have went back in time, maybe before you even went on that first trip to South Africa, before you even got into this whole field, that, and you could have told yourself maybe one, two, or three things that would have saved you a ton of time, headache, stress, money, heartache, anything, what would be, say, some things you would say to yourself maybe at like 19?
It's a good question again. um I guess I think one of my big challenges have been just, I would have probably just told myself, Lisa, don't care what people think, or don't care what people do to you, and just focus on yourself, your own happiness. Because so many times, even when I had this beautiful job, I was getting distracted by human issues. And when I look back at it, and it happened gradually, that I saw that there will always be something. I mean, either it's a colleague that you're, oh, there's a problem, or a boss that is maybe you're having a friction with, or whatever it is, there is always something. And what I feel I wasted some time was to be bothered by those things, and actually having that affect my time with the animals. I mean, not that it ruined the time, I was enjoying it, but I learned that throughout this I mean, the years of working in the working world. I mean, I think it's the same in any place. And just to say, you can dislike me, that's okay. I don't let that affect my life or my experience. My experience with the animals was more important, and so I just dived into working with them and enjoying that, instead of being worried or talking to someone, oh, how can I solve this? Or you just stop caring about that. I mean, obviously you have to be not be the one causing any issues, but if you're not, then it's okay. You can just let people think whatever they want, enjoy and do your thing. And that's, I think, maybe what I would told myself. I could have saved myself a lot of kind of worried evenings, or having these kind of confrontations because I thought too much about it. And I think when you let things go, it just goes easier, because then you maybe see the person that you had a problem with and you smile because you don't really care. And then the person is gonna say, "Oh, she's not too bad actually." So, yeah, I mean, I really believe that would probably be what I would tell myself at 19.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, it's interesting to go back and just think, because that answer is very similar to a lot of other people. It's like, imagine if we didn't care about what other people thought about us. Imagine if we stepped into our power and just did what we wanted to do without caring whatsoever other people's opinions. Obviously, you got to care a little bit, because you don't want your whole world to fall apart without you expecting so. But you should do what you want to do. And thinking about other people's opinions, you just ask anybody that's, over the age of 40, and like, they just don't care as much as someone who's 20 years old. They just simply don't care. Typically, that's why a lot of people are making moves when they're older versus younger, because we're just living in this, this box of caring what other people think. And our time on this planet is so limited. And you working with animals and seeing animals come and go, I mean, that's a you become so bonded to these animals. You have to deal with loss. You have to deal with a lot of love. I mean, it's hard, right? You're like falling in love with these creatures, and next thing you know, something happens, and it's a sad thing. So what you're doing is it's tough, but I'm also very curious. What would you say to those people that are right on the edge of maybe getting into, in this particular situation, conservation, or they're like, all right, I'm in. I sold Len Jones. I'm all about the Lisa train. How can I do what Lisa does? They're right on the fence of sending out that first message. I actually saw on your website, Kytosaho.com, you read a blog post about all of this. So I recommend everyone check out Lisa's blog post. It's fantastic. If you don't know how to spell her last name, just go to her Instagram. It's there. But what would you say to that person that's right on the fence of jumping into conservation and making big moves?
Well, I would tell that person just to believe in yourself, and to let go of any fear that you're worrying about that it can go wrong, because thinking about things that go wrong is never good. Think about what you would like and how you would like it, and I believe a lot in visualization. So I mean, when I was younger, I was visualizing every evening about living with animals. So I would say visualize what you want, think about it in positive, not in negative. Don't think about what can go wrong. Think about what you want, what you would dream of, and think about how you would like to act when it's happening. So you should kind of just mentally preparing yourself for whatever it is, and see the path in front of you. See that that's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to do it, more or less. And these are the things I want to achieve before I do that. So that you kind of, if you have something really cool going on and about to happen, don't just like think, oh, maybe it will happen, maybe not. Act like it is going to happen. Just do all the things you want to do before it happens. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. You don't get too upset about it. Go on the next thing, because if you're really determined, you will find your way. And if it's the right path for you, you will definitely, you will find that path. That is quite vague, I would say, but that's kind of the way I'm trying to think as well, when sometimes things get, complicated, and I feel like, whoa, there's so many complications, so many difficulties, so many obstacles, and how will all these things sort out? And then I would just think, you know what, everything will be fine. It will be sorted out in the best way that it can. And all I can do in this moment is to nurture my opportunity and what I'm doing right now, and my situation, and be happy and be positive, because if you don't, then things will not turn out very well. So then just to see it will be fine, even if it maybe doesn't go the way that I exactly planned it out to be, or thought about, or visualized. It is because something's coming later on. So
Right.
just to focus on that, and then be positive.
And you mentioned something real early in this podcast. You said you got super lucky. You like, when you got your opportunity, you said, I got real lucky. And I think people need to understand there's a difference between the luck Lisa got versus blind luck. There's 3 different types of luck. And I talk about this a lot. There's like the first type of luck, which is true, just euphoria luck. Like, you're stumbling upon a treasure chest and you just make all this money. Like, oh my God, life goes on. Then there's a second type of luck, which is you're taking a lot of action. You're stirring up the pot. you know, you're maybe sending emails this way, and all of a sudden something bites, right? It's like fishing. You put out a 10, 20, 30 fishing lines and you get an opportunity. Anyone can start doing that today to create
Absolutely.
their own luck.
Yeah. I mean, I did say I was very short on that. I said I was very lucky, and I was. But I mean, before that opportunity, I had looked so much on the internet about all these different organizations that I want to go there, 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 I want to go to this place and learn about these species and this. So I had done hours and hours and hours of research of places, and I had like all these programs. Some of them were, unpaid internships. Some of them were, work placements and all these things ready that I wanted to apply for. And then this opportunity came, and it was like I said, one of the contacts. But I mean, in the end of the day, the contact knew I was the right person for the job because I was so passionate when I was there. People were like, "Oh, this girl is like really passionate. She really likes it. She's good at it. Like animals like her and all that stuff." So of course, it was luck. It was luck. But if I wouldn't have gotten that lucky break, I would have been working with animals. It would have just been a different path. Because I was even thinking, oh, I hope this this apprentice program won't take me too long and I get stuck there forever, because I have so many other things that I wanted to try out. There's so many other species I want to work with, and that's exactly what happened. I got stuck, and I'm like still at the same place.
But I love that you expanded on it, because you are now what we call that third bucket of luck, which is you became such an expert in your field. You became such a specialist in your field that when, say, someone hits opportunity number 2, stirs up the pot, they're calling people like Lisa because they're an expert in the field to help them get to that next level. So if you can become the expert, you're just locked in, just like Lisa said. She was going to be in this field regardless, whether it was this or without. So go out there, pursue your dreams, make moves. Let this just be a reminder that you got to do something. If you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. Life's going to go on. You're going to blink, 10 years will go by. Might as well make moves right now. So Lisa, you're an inspiration to all of us. We appreciate you so much. How can people follow you through your Instagram or follow your journey, or how can people reach out to you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly active on Instagram, which is Lisa Tora Jacqueline. I'm sure that there will be a link for that because I've got complicated names. And I've got my website, as you mentioned, lisakytosaho.com, where I do mostly like blog posts. I mean, I'm getting more and more active. And I also update some pictures because I love taking photographs of the animals. So that's kind of my blog and my photography, and there will be some new updates coming soon, which is very exciting. As well as I'm working on a YouTube, which is gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, can't wait for that.
Yeah, I had so much requests for that, and I just been, because I don't really know a lot about YouTube, so I've just been dragging out on it. But now I'm going to do it because there's so many people that wants to see more, and they've asked me for vlogs forever, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna dive into this because it's fun as well and people want to see it, and so I want to share it and create even more eye-opening moments and awareness about what we're doing. So yeah, but so far the best way to contact me is like through Instagram, like follow my life and my stories, and the website, and then from there on I will be sharing all the new updates are coming this year.
Lovely. Hakuna Matata. We got the Lion King coming out.
Yeah, so cool. I can't wait to see it, actually.
I know. I think everyone is stoked. It's going to be fantastic. Well, Lisa, thanks again for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It was perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Till next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Len Jones Party of Two. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review and subscribe to stay up to date on our new episodes. And remember, hope is not a strategy. Keep making moves. Till next time, peace.